All right, we are live. Hi, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dawn Ludicky, and that is Dylan Crush.
Hi, happy Galentine's Day.
Galentine's Day. The first time I've ever heard that phrase was this year. Well, from the Romance Chick Hop and my daughter who celebrated it with her bestie. So, yeah. Dylan.
Any excuse to read books and drink wine and eat chocolate.
The best. So, Dylan, what are you working on?
I just got edits back for Hot Fudge and a Heartthrob, which is coming out the 28th. So I'm almost done with that, and I have arcs just about ready to send out. So nice. If you're in my reader group, I put a form up there if anybody wanted to get on my arc team. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. And then I've got quite a few releases that are in the works this year. So
yeah,
lots of surprise releases that are coming up that I'm working on.
I'm just saying, Dylan, I mean, we had this conversation the other day when we were having a phone talk, but I think that she doesn't sleep or something.
No, that's so not true.
Because she writes like a maniac. I'll be like, oh yeah, I got 3,000 words, and she's like, I wrote an entire book.
I do not say that.
Yes, you did.
I do not.
All right. Well, I just finished High Heels and Cowboy Boots. So I am editing that, getting it to my editor this weekend. It's going to be released April 14th in a box set called Romance on the Range. And I've been posting the link for that. It's on sale right now till the release for 99 cents. So I'm pretty excited about it because it's my first spicy cowboy. I have some previous short story cowboys, but this one was really fun. So
sounds good.
Yeah. So so our guests today, Claire, Marti, and Erika Kelly.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Erika, it's your release day, correct?
It is.
Yeah, she's spending her book birthday with us. I feel very honored.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your books?
Yeah, so I've been writing literally my entire life from the time I was a little girl, but I didn't really know that it was writing. And so it was just sort of telling stories in my head and writing them down privately, but it didn't ever occur to me that anybody would want to hear my stories, right? It was just all in my head. And then one day I was hiking with a friend of mine and telling her a story about something that we saw. And she said, you should be a writer. And it was like the heavens cracked open and light came spilling down. And so I'm from Los Angeles originally. So I started out doing screenplays and didn't really work for me. Went into novels and been doing it ever since.
Wow.
So I have my first series is a rock star romance. And now I'm doing it's sort of it's not all athletes, but the first 4 were athletes. And now this 5th one is an athlete as well. So it's an athlete series.
Fun.
Going forward.
Oh, she keeps clicking out.
I know your microphone is doing it again, Erika.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll keep solid on there. No. All right, Claire, why don't we go to you? Introduce yourself and what you're working on.
Okay. Hi, I'm Claire Marti, and I've been writing since I was a little kid too, but I ended up doing dumb things like becoming a lawyer for a while, and then I hated that. So I ran an animal rescue, and I teach yoga as well, and always writing nonfiction, and then finally wrote my first full-length novel about, that wasn't my dog.
That was mine. I'm so
sorry. Released in 2017. So I have a series called Finding Forever in Laguna, which takes place in Laguna Beach, surprisingly enough. And a lot of kind of second chance themes, carpe diem type of themes in those stories. And my new series is called Pacific Vista Ranch, and that's what I'm going to be reading from tonight. And it's a ranch in Rancho Santa Fe, California, which is a little bit different than more rural areas. It's kind of, Rancho Santa Fe is kind of like Bel Air, the Hamptons, but everybody has horses. So it's a unique little enclave. And this is what I'll be reading from later tonight. I'm super excited.
Awesome. All right, Erika, let's try. No.
No, shoot.
I can hear.
Can you, like, loud or just a little?
I heard you. Say something else, Erika, because I heard you.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can. Yes.
Yeah.
It's going in and out. Does the volume change a little bit for you, Claire? It's
It,
like
it did a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
But I could still hear even when it was quiet. So maybe you have to yell.
Okay. Okay. I can yell.
So yeah, maybe if you're closer to, I don't know if it's your microphone. Maybe it doesn't pick up if you're farther away or if you're moving.
Okay.
All right, cool.
That is good.
Yeah. Now
That's
you
good?
sound good. Maybe we should get her reading before
Yeah,
your microphone goes out again.
Dies out.
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the book that came out today is wait. It Was Always You. And it is the 5th in the Calamity Falls series. All of my books are standalone. This one is a bad boy quarterback who was in love with his coach's daughter in high school. And his coach basically said to him, when he saw that they were getting really close, his coach said, listen, I'm willing to take you all the way to the NFL, but you got to stay away from my daughter, because if you two fall in love, you're going to be distracted from the path that you guys should be on. And so he broke them up. And so the book is about the two of them meeting each other again 7 years later, and Cassian works his butt off to win her back. And of course he does. And this is part of the opening scene. This starts in high school. So listen, I've applied to Michigan School of Music. Gigi's eyes glittered with excitement. If I get in, I'm going there. And here it is, Cassian thought. Exactly what her dad didn't want to happen. She looked so confident and happy, like, this is it. We can finally be together. And this is what made it so hard to keep his hands off her. Because miracle of all miracles, he was pretty sure Gigi Kavanaugh loved him too. And she wanted him to tell her they could be together in college. But he couldn't do that. What kind of man would I be to take everything her dad's given me and then screw him over like that? All her joy sputtered out and turned into uncertainty. Don't you want me to go to school with you? Yes, he said in a growly whisper. His skin went hot and his pulse kicked up. But you're too talented, Gigi. The situation should be reversed. You should go to the best music program in the country, and I should play football wherever you are. Her expression softened with hope and love. Danger pricked at the back of his neck. She searched his eyes, and he didn't know what they revealed. He was sweating, his breathing growing erratic. I want things to be different in college, Cassian. I want us to be together. I want that so much. Trust Gigi to put it out there, to be honest and real. She didn't hide from anything. And then, out of nowhere, she got up on her toes and kissed him. The world exploded into brilliant colors. Need clamped down so hard his muscles ached. He licked inside her mouth and she leaned into him. Desire burned wild and out of control. He finally had her in his arms, her breasts pressed against his chest, her hand fisting in his hair. Her scent, exotic flowers, that hint of herbal shampoo, seeped into his bloodstream, triggering a primal roar of possession. His tongue did a slow dance with hers, lighting him up at the forbidden taste, and he wanted her more than he'd ever wanted anything. Damn it, you can't do this. He pushed her away. His disloyalty to the man who'd made him into a star athlete disgusted him. His body waged war against his brain, desperate to have her back in his arms, yet knowing he'd never forgive himself if she compromised her dreams. Her eyes went wide, scared. Her trembling hand covered her mouth and her pulse fluttered in her throat. Why did you do that? Shudders racked his body. Still, he forced a smirk. Come on, you know I don't see you like that. Hurt, anger, confusion fought for dominance on her beautiful features. Tears glistened. Don't do that. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about next September. But you're kissing me now, and I can't resist you. I can't. We're just friends, Gigi. Who cares where we go to school? Stop talking. Her expression, she was killing him. No, you're killing her. Get out of here. Just go. He turned and took in the massive bodies dancing and grinding on each other. She pulled on his arm. I know what you're doing. My dad told you to keep your hands off me, right? That day he found us in the treehouse, everything changed after that. She wasn't hurt anymore. She was fierce. What did he say to you? He couldn't betray the man who'd flown across the country to watch him sign his letter of intent. Like shutting down his computer, he felt his system going offline, one cell after another going black. Tell me! She got a fist full of his shirt and yanked it. It's my life, too. I deserve to know what he said. By force of will, he made his legs start moving. He walked away from her, deeper into the crowd, where everyone reeked of booze and weed. He needed to get out of there. He felt dangerous, like if she touched him one more time, he'd finally give in and haul her up those stairs, fill all the emptiness inside him with her love. Because that's what he needed. More than football, more than a career, more than anything on this earth, he needed to be with Gigi. She reached for him. Damn it, Cassian! He wrenched his arm out of her hold. Stop touching me! Her eyes filled with horror. I'm not attracted to you, okay? He pushed deeper into the crowd and reached for the nearest body. The girl whipped around, her eyes lighting up when she saw it was him, their school's winning quarterback. It was Ashton. Gigi's best friend went from surprised to excited to straight up vixen. She shimmied with the music, swinging her hips side to side as she made his way up his body and back again. She kept dancing, a little awkward because she was so wasted, but there was no denying how happy she was to seduce him. He felt Gigi watching him. Of course he did. They were connected, deep down, irrevocably. Their souls were made of the same fabric. And when he turned to her, he was surprised to find her worried. Not crushed, but worried. You're not going to do this, are you? You can't take this back. You know that, right? But he couldn't play this out anymore. It was killing him, loving a woman he couldn't have, spending every free moment with her, but not being able to touch her. And anyways, her dad had called it. Gigi would go to the wrong school just to be with him. He couldn't do that to her. So he reached for her best friend and brought her up against him, and then he kissed her. The clash of lips, the foul taste of beer, the sickly sweet scent of perfume, everything was wrong. His body rebelled, shook with the offense of erasing Gigi's taste with someone else's. Tilting his head, he forced himself to watch the destruction. He'd seen Gigi experience every emotion under the sun. Joy when she got a standing ovation after a performance, contentment when they lay on their backs, feet braced against the orange crates in their treehouse, talking about whatever was on their minds. Sorrow when her dog never came home, and outrage when her sister had broken her favorite guitar. Every emotion except this one. Her devastation burned like acid on his heart. He couldn't take it. He just couldn't. So he reached for Ashton's hand and led her up the stairs. Only this time he didn't look to see Gigi's reaction. It didn't matter. It was done. He'd pushed her away for good.
Sounds so good.
What a jerk. Is that your hero? What a jerk.
He redeems himself. That's good.
He'll have to.
Yeah.
Winning her back.
Yes. Yes. I know. Linda said, guys, so dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess we need to be careful, though, because we did find out that Claire's husband is listening to us, too.
Yeah.
So he
may
away
from the office. He can't handle it anymore.
I was going to say he might have to step in and try to defend his gender here.
Yeah, I should see if you could read my hero's part, and I read the heroines, but I don't think I can
Yeah.
tell that one.
Oh,
Dawn's husband has offered to do that. Dawn's husband is a tease because he has said he was going to do that now. How long have we been on?
I know.
Been
But
doing this a year and a half.
But
For
to
a
be
year and a half, your
fair-
husband has teased our viewers.
but to be fair, half the time he's deployed. So
Oh, well, still, yes.
I know. He's like he wants to get the perfect. He wants to be perfect when he does it. So he's got to kind of. It's taken like a year for him to kind of get into it. So we'll see. We'll see. I told him he's gonna do it. So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, that was very enjoyable.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing. And your
My
microphone
pleasure.
held most of the time. Just a couple tiny little dips.
Glitches.
So yeah, but that was good. So we did have a couple questions that popped up from Linda. She wanted to know, name a character in one of your books you can relate to.
That we personally relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be for both of you.
Well, I feel like I can relate to all of my women. My women are really strong. They're all pursuing goals. Every one of them. They're all nurturing. I tend to write characters, female characters, who are probably in the arts, or maybe they're chefs. I have a wedding dress designer. So probably more creative. So I guess I can relate to my women.
Mm-hmm. That makes me curious. How many of us here, us four, write heroines that are a lot alike of a lot of us? Like I do, for real.
I guess so. I never thought about it. So it's a good question.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think there's elements in each heroine that I pull from. I try really hard to make them all different, but one of them's a lawyer who hates being a lawyer and goes to run a nonprofit. Reminds me of autobiographical information there. They all love animals. I'm really big into animal rescue and my dogs and cats and all of that kind of stuff. I really like writing guys, and I'm finding that, I think my edits back from this last book, and I have 4 older brothers, and I was raised by my dad, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just write dudes. Because they're a little easier to write sometimes.
I agree. I like writing my male characters better than my females. I've always gotten along with guys. Like in high school, I never had any. I mean, I had very few, I should say, female friends. I had a couple, but most of them were guy friends, and so I like writing them more. I think
they're kind of fun. Like, yeah, but yeah.
My books always are, they're 50-50 man and woman, but I think I lean more to the man. It's always more his story, or let's say his arc is the more
dominant one.
Harder arc.
Yeah.
Sharper curve. You know what I mean? My heroines seem to have less work to do.
Yeah.
And
well, that seems very realistic, because I think the guys really need to get it all together so they're worthy of their heroine, right?
Right.
You know.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Claire. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's right.
Yeah. Project. Yeah.
That's funny. So Karen wants to know, do you write every day?
I do, literally every single day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
I do. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I have to take the weekends off. I have 4 kids. If I didn't, they would kill me.
Oh my gosh. I write most days. I finished the draft that went to my editor last week. So I took a couple days off after that because my brain, it was just mush. So I took a little breather, but I write some nonfiction stuff that I actually get paid for right away as I write it. And, I wrote some of that, but I write most days, I would say.
Nice. What about you, Dylan?
I don't necessarily write new words every day, but I am always working on my book business. So it might be marketing or editing or, even like building the website or, stuff that, every single day. Something.
Yeah. I just
Yes.
don't think you sleep. I mean, to be
Would you
honest.
stop with that?
I'm serious. I'm like,
Vampire.
maybe like an hour ago, I
Found
was
me
on,
out, Dawn.
maybe an hour ago, I was on Instagram and I saw like an ad for one of your books. Like, was it Hot Fudge? It was your new one, and with the guy's
No.
abs, and I was like, "Ooh,
No, that's the first one. But yeah.
oh, okay." And I was like looking at that, going, "Okay, like now I need to do some more marketing, but it takes me like an hour to get a graphic done. So how did she do this so fast? And also like
No.
admin a million different Facebook groups.
No.
And she's
Well, you know,
she's a
we're running
superhero.
small business.
Yeah.
I know. That's
Mhm.
right.
When I first sold, I literally thought, oh, now I can just write. This is
Yeah.
so
Right.
great."
Yeah.
And
Ha, ha, ha.
it took me about a week to contact my agent and say, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? And I learned immediately that I have to take over. And
Yeah.
it's a full-time job.
Yep.
So Erica, are you so you're published? You're traditionally published?
I'm hybrid now.
Hybrid. Okay. Who are you published with?
Berkeley?
Okay. Oh, is that how you know Dylann?
Mm-mm.
No.
Dylan's a Berkeley too. She's a Berkeley girl.
Well, I
Yeah.
will be. I mean, my
Yeah.
first book is coming out with Berkeley in August.
Ah.
Well, my first Berkeley book, I should say.
That's great.
What about you, Claire? Are you hybrid?
I'm
In
hybrid as well. Yeah. My first series was with Wild Rose Press, and then I decided, is it?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'm not with them anymore. I used to be. My first one was. I was with Nan. Nan was my editor because I was historical. I am historical.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I did the first series with them, and it was a great learning place, and I'm, happy with it. And then I really was hoping to get a traditional deal with a bigger publisher with my Pacific Vista Ranch series, and I got super close, like 15 requests for fulls, like so close and so close. And finally I was like, this book is awesome. The series is awesome. I'm just going to get it out there. I'm working on another standalone that I'm going to pitch. And I really like the hybrid.
Yeah.
I really like the control with the covers. And I found the most amazing developmental editor that someone referred to me, and she's just been life-changing. So
Yeah. Good.
nice.
Yeah, I did Wild Rose Press first, and a smaller press, Books to Go Now. They were actually in my chapter in Washington, but yeah, Wild Rose Press was my first full-length publisher. And then I got Jess. Dylann and I have the same agent, Jessica Watterson. She's amazing. So she's shopping now, but then I got with Kensington, and now I'm going hybrid because I'm also kind of transitioning from just historical to also contemporary. So I'm kind of evolving. But it's fun to hear how.
I like the control. I found that I was doing the work anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I don't make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I'm in control, things go the way I want them to go. Right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Karen, hybrid is when an author is both traditionally published and self-published. So we're just kind of got our one foot on either side. So it sounds like we're all hybrid at this point. So tonight,
it's the wave of the future.
Yeah. I mean, the cool kids are hybrid. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you get that? Linda says, how involved? I know. Sorry, Dylann.
That's all right. No, go ahead. I was going to ask, there was a previous question too. So.
Okay. Linda says, how involved you get with your readers?
Well, I don't go to those big signings. So my involvement with my readers is in my reader group, and I'm there, every day posting and interacting. But I don't go to signings. And
Claire?
I mean, if they want to take me out for drinks, I will go have wine with my readers. No, I interact a lot. I'm on a site called Writer Space, and so I've really built my newsletter up. So I do contests, I do things from the website. I do go to smaller signings. I'm going to go to Book Lovers Conference in March in Nashville. There's a big signing in San Diego in May. So So I really like to interact. I like to get, hear from people, and when they win contests and they win a book, and, I love to connect as much as possible.
Nice. Yeah.
So do you both have reader groups?
I do.
It's on Facebook or?
Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my own reader group yet. I have my author page.
Mhm.
And I've kind of been interacting a lot in different groups like Romance Chicks and
Yep.
and other groups with authors, because it seemed I wrote 3 books last year, and that was a lot for me. They were kind of long ones, and it was overwhelming to try to just do an individual reader group right then. So it's on my list for this year, but I'm a little like, what if nobody comes and wants to play with me? You 3 come, and then we'll
Yes.
hang out.
If you post it, they will come.
And
Chocolate.
it's more meaningful interaction
Right,
Yes.
right.
and a bigger,
Mhm.
bigger, on your page. It's just more meaningful. It's more intimate. It's
Yeah.
It'll come, I promise.
Yeah, I will share things in my reader group that I don't necessarily want to put out there to all of Facebook. And
Definitely.
I don't know, there's a couple people that are watching that are in my reader group, so we'll see what they say.
I am bad with my reader group. I have a I guess a VA kind or like a team leader that does it, but I need to up my reader group game for sure.
We'll talk after this.
Yes.
Oh, and Karen wants to know where do you both live, and not in a
Yeah.
creepy stalker way,
No.
just like general geographic area.
Right now I'm in Texas. I've been here about a year and a half.
Yeah. Houston, can you guys believe that we never crossed paths and we were down there? Of course,
I
it
can't
sounds
imagine. There's only a few million people in that general area, right?
Small little town.
It sounds like, though, by the sound of the sirens that went past during your reading, that you're like downtown or something. Are you downtown? Yeah.
I didn't even notice. I literally didn't notice. That's so funny. I didn't notice it.
That's
I
funny.
was really into it.
Are you downtown?
No.
Like north, south, east, or west?
Oh my gosh, Dawn. She's not going to give you the GPS coordinates to her
not
house. Leave her
GPS
alone.
coordinates. I can tell the town that she's in by.
I just said like general geographic area. Now you're pressing her for
All
like,
right,
her
right.
street name and her zip code. Leave her alone.
All right.
I'm in North
Claire's
County, San
afraid.
Diego. And, but again, as I said, if you want to bring over chocolate or whatever, read my books. We can hang out. I'm in a town called Encinitas. It's a little beach town in North County, San Diego. So
Nice.
about 25 miles north of San Diego proper.
Ah,
Nice.
okay. I heard you say north, and I was hoping you were going to say North Carolina because I was going to be like, let's have coffee. But that's on the other side of the country.
I grew up in Virginia. My best friend's in Wilmington, North Carolina. So
That was my very first station ever. Wrightsville Beach, actually. Yeah, in the military. Yeah, that was a fun station. Cool.
Nice.
Oh, funny. Well, should we let Claire read?
We should, yeah.
Okay.
Sadly, I've been needing these more and more. So on come the reading glasses. So I am going to read from Nobody Else But You. If I can put this in front. Isn't this cover beautiful? It makes me very happy. This is the first book in my Pacific Vista Ranch series, and it's an enemies to lovers, forced proximity romance. And the little tagline on top says, a smoking hot stuntman, a fiery horse breeder, and a 220-acre ranch too small for both of them. So a movie comes to film on the ranch where Samantha, who's quite the tomboy, is the horse breeding manager. And it's hate at first sight, which, of course, once they're together, starts to change. And although Sam's really a tomboy, she goes to ballet to relieve stress. Holt is a really hot stuntman. Think Charlie Hunnam, if you know who that is. And since he's a stuntman, he also goes to ballet, and he ends up at the same little ballet studio that Sam goes to. So here we go. Grabbing her bag containing her leotard, tights, and shoes, she headed into the back entrance of the studio. She'd known Cecile since they'd moved to Rancho Santa Fe, and was able to come and go as she pleased. Time to sweat everything to do with the movies away. Samantha stuck the final pin into her sleek bun and smoothed down her plain black leotard. Her pale pink tights and ballet slippers always transported her back to her childhood when dancing was her whole world. She loved the studio with its no-nonsense layout and no-frills approach. For the next hour, she prayed she'd find some solace. She slammed the black metal locker door shut, spun the combination lock, and hurried out into the large square room. Sunlight filtered in from enormous rectangular windows on the west wall, reflecting off ruthlessly polished light oak floors. Usually she arrived early and staked out her favorite spot away from the gleaming mirrors, but tonight only a few spaces remained along one of the 3 wooden ballet bars. Oh well, she wasn't so rigid she couldn't dance in a different area of the studio. She was flexible. Flexible, ballet, ha-ha. She snickered to herself as she extended one leg up onto the bar and folded forward, stretching her hamstrings. Her eyelids closed and she focused on her breath. Time to channel quiet, calm, and grace. Nothing more. The crisp scent of ivory soap alerted her another student filled the empty spot beside her, but she filtered out the pleasant smell and kept her nose pressed into her shin. When she danced, everything except the music and the ballet faded away. The instructor, Cecile, clapped her hands. Ladies and gentlemen, first position, left hand on the bar. Sam's eyes popped open. Gentlemen? There was a guy in class? Curious, she swept her leg down and glanced around. Her mouth dropped open. Him? Too hot Hollywood in her ballet studio? Her fingers curled into fists and heat rose into her cheeks. You? Did you follow me here? Huh? He gaped at her. Samantha, silence, first position, Cecile snapped with a frown. She swallowed a scream of frustration and whirled back to face the mirrors, and there he was, lurking directly behind her. 6 feet of ripped bronze shoulders and sinewy biceps were highlighted in all black exercise pants and a tank. Damn it, she didn't want to be impressed or affected or have her safe haven intruded upon again. She gripped the bar with her left hand and squeezed. Good thing it was sturdy or she might just crush the wood to dust. She'd pretend it was his smirking face. He chased off her sister with his news. Well, it wasn't his movie and he just delivered the message, but the proverb about shooting the messenger didn't exist for nothing. How was she going to immerse herself in the music and the movement with him breathing down her neck? Was this man going to single-handedly ruin her life? Her body automatically obeyed the teacher's commands. Plié, tendu, dégagé. The fine hairs on the back of her neck stood at high alert, and her eyes kept darting to the powerful limbs moving in perfect synchronization behind her. Instead of measuring her own alignment in the mirror, her gaze was drawn to the perfect shadow behind her. Every sweep of his arm performed with flawless precision. She shook her head to stop her surreptitious or not so surreptitious staring. He represented everything she hated about people from Hollywood. Cocky, too good looking. Well, she wasn't blind, was she? Damn Holt Erickson. She angled her body and Holt intruded into her peripheral vision, as if she'd been able to ignore him from her current spot. Inhale, exhale. She absolutely was not distracted by his cat-like grace. Much too close for her. She peeked from under her lashes, surprise registered when his leg sweep extended almost as far as hers. Impressive flexibility. Most men couldn't come close to that level of suppleness, especially the athletic, muscular ones. His golden head was turned away from her, so she gave him the side eye for another millisecond. His long, sleekly muscled arms stretched overhead and a light film of perspiration gleamed on his skin. Okay, he might be an arrogant LA boy, but he was flawless. A pity he would most likely open his mouth again. Abruptly, he turned his head and snared her gaze. Busted. When his sculpted lips quirked into a knowing smile, she cursed his ego. With a huff, she whipped her head to face the mirror. Holt struggled to maintain steady breathing, but his usual self-control was failing him. Had Angela sent him to this ballet studio on purpose? What was she trying to pull? The last 7 minutes and 16 seconds had been exquisite torture standing directly behind Sam. In a modest black leotard, pink tights, and innocent pink ballet slippers, she no longer resembled the bony, persnickety hooligan from the ranch. No, now she looked elegant, graceful, powerful. In the bright lights of the studio, her abundant auburn hair shimmered like polished bronze. Her traditional dancer's bun revealed the milky, pale skin at the nape of her neck, usually obscured by her hat or heavy braid. He caught himself before he leaned forward and kissed it. When she turned to the side, her profile transformed into one of the old-fashioned cameos his mother collected. A blue vein ran from her smooth forehead to the top of her high cheekbone, revealing a hint of vulnerability in what he'd believed was an impenetrable fortress. He'd been wrong. She was just as beautiful as her twin sister. He glimpsed the calluses on one small palm, evidence of the work she performed each day. Not the manicured hands of a spoiled girl, but a serious woman. His entire body stiffened when he contemplated those palms sliding over his skin. How long was this class again? He'd never survive. Her sinuous, mesmerizing dancing revealed another layer to Miss Samantha McNeil. Underneath the tough shell lived an artist, a true ballerina. He came to ballet to work on agility and control, but she became one with the music like he did when he played his guitar. Accustomed to working with and observing performers, he recognized her connection to the dance, even from the warm-up exercises. Sam wasn't just a horsewoman. She channeled the emotion of the dance from inside out. Unfrickin' believable. She smelled like heaven, and the beads of perspiration along her upper shoulders beckoned. How would she taste? Sweet, like she looked now, or tart, how she acted the remaining 99% of the time? The yearning to stroke her rosy porcelain skin surged through him. Would the flush spread to the rest of her skin when she was aroused? Mr. Erickson, attention, Cecile snapped. He jolted, busted. He glanced around to see what the rest of the class was doing and caught Sam's smirk. Now that expression he recognized. Somehow her attitude now seemed endearing instead of annoying. Yes, he'd been too quick to judge her. He'd apologize. When class ended, Holt wiped the sweat from his forehead and the back of his neck. The punishing pace suited him, and he understood why Sam came to the studio. He'd have to return while he was in town. So, if someone had told me a guy like you would go to ballet, well, I would have laughed. You're full of surprises. Sam angled her head toward him as she slung her damp towel over her gorgeous shoulders. He didn't detect a note of sarcasm, just simple curiosity. So you've got me figured out? Yeah, I know it might seem unexpected, but my ego can handle the jokes. I found it a few years back to help with the agility and control I need for certain types of stunts. Makes sense. You don't usually see the big macho guys in ballet. A hint of humor threaded her tone. They walked together toward the small entryway of the studio where the locker rooms were located. Big and macho, I'll have you know, almost half of the NFL teams send their guys to ballet. Why didn't everybody know this? Defensive much? I've never seen one here, but you did okay for a guy. Her rosy lips curved up. Wow, compliment? He pressed one hand over his chest. I'm flattered. Seriously, you were legit. I've got to respect that. Do all stuntmen do ballet? Her cheeks were as pink as her lips, and with a soft smile on her face, he couldn't fathom how he'd ever missed how sexy she was. No idea. Some, I guess, he shrugged. We aren't exactly a fraternity. But you're a ballerina. Do you perform? Her smile evaporated and she froze. I'm not a ballerina. Of course you are. I know a performer when I see one. Huh. Interesting reaction. She bit her plump lower lip and shook her head. Well, I used to dance when I was a kid. Now I just come in to stay flexible. It helps me with the horses. They stopped in front of the locker rooms. Why'd you stop? What wasn't she saying? Emotion simmered beneath the surface. An urgent need to know gripped him. She froze again, abruptly pivoted and ignored the question. I need to grab my stuff. You headed back to the ranch? Yeah, he exhaled. I'll show you a shortcut, locals only. I'm in the back parking lot, so give me a second. When you see my car pull up, follow me. She turned and strode away. No longer the ballerina, she morphed back to the bossy tomboy. How many layers were there? The ranch it was. Curiosity piqued, he climbed into his truck and turned the key. Samantha was out of her mind if she believed this was the end of the discussion. He hit the accelerator and caught up to her.
Okay, so you totally make me want to go and rethink my my word choice in all of my sentences. Your voice is amazing. I love your voice.
Thank you.
I just liked the word supple. I don't think I've ever used the word supple in any of my writing so far. I'm going to take that as a challenge now.
Supple.
Come up with something that's supple.
Yeah.
No, nicely done.
Very good.
Thank you.
And yeah, that just made me feel really bad about not ever having any rhythm or flexibility. So if
Sorry.
a guy like some like hot stuntman can stretch and
Yeah.
I don't know, put his nose to his shin, that just
Yeah. Can I ask, do you do ballet?
You know, I did ballet as a kid, but I'm a yoga teacher and a Pilates teacher. So actually one of the Pilates teachers in the studio I go to is a ballerina. So I was double checking with her. She's like, no, it's plie tendu dégagé. It's not dégagé. I was like, no, that's the thing you hear from a reader. And they're like,
Yeah.
in ballet. Right. So I just,
Well, you did really good because knowing nothing about ballet, I completely believed everything you said there. So
well, good. I'm glad.
No, very nicely done.
very good.
We did not have very many comments. I think everyone was just totally mesmerized by your reading. So
Yeah.
we did have one. Linda wants to know, can you describe what your ideal writing space would be?
I have a couple spaces I move around. We have our house in the front, and we have a little like 300 square foot casita in the back. And when we moved in here 2 years ago. That was supposed to be my writing studio and room. In fact, I wrote to the real estate agent because we had multiple offers because it's California, and I think real estate. And I said, I've just published my first book, and I foresee writing a New York Times bestseller sitting in this writing studio. And then we got the house. So I feel like that helped. My husband has kind of taken it over. I have a big recliner chair that I like to write in. And I can see out in the backyard. And then, now it's the den of wine and words. So he has a big wine cabinet thing there. So I can sit in my chair and write and look at the wine, or I can angle the other way and look out at the backyard. So,
or you could sit in your chair and drink the wine.
Yeah. And write the words. We did have one question. Karen wanted to know, where are you? Claire, are you going to Love and Devotion in May?
Yes, I will be there. I will be signing there.
Oh, she's going to come visit you then. Right, Karen? You going to go there? She said I could come visit if you are.
Perfect. I would love it.
You got to watch out for Karen.
Yeah, she's spicy.
She came to visit me once.
She'll make you eat things.
Uh-oh, what happened?
No, we had a very nice visit. So I enjoyed hanging out with Karen, and if she comes back this way, I would love to do so again. So yeah, no, she's great. We had another question too. Do you ladies have your characters planned out before you start writing, or do you let them grow as the book develops? Which also kind of piggybacks onto the, proverbial, are you a plotter or a pantser question.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you want to go first, Erika?
Oh, so I'm neither a plotter nor a pantser. I'm a sparker. So basically what I do is I develop my idea, I map it out. So I know my goal, motivation, and conflict. I know the plot points. But to answer that question, do you plan out your characters? Doesn't matter how much I plan out my characters or my goal, motivation, and conflict. As soon as I start writing, the characters come, and then I have to change everything.
Yeah.
But I'm very careful about planning it. I have this big, child's pad of paper, and I have the acts and the plot points. I don't plot out scenes. I just have a map. And then as soon as I start writing, they just sort of
move.
My first book is the best example. I had one of my characters had a boss, and in every scene he was just like boss, boss, boss. Like there was just nothing going on there. And I thought, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like I got to turn this book in. And then all of a sudden in this one last revision, what was his name? Oh, Hugh Grant popped into my head. And suddenly this boss, who was just a secondary character, had this great personality. And that's how it works for me, is just going, and then it just comes, right? This personality just comes.
So does that give you extra time writing then? Because then you have to go back and kind of like insert his personality.
So for me, the first two passes really are just getting the structure. I'm not really even thinking about the dialogue or anything. It's just sort of placeholders. Everything's a placeholder. And then the next passes are description and the color, right? And then the dialogue is honed in that. And then personality really comes out in that third or fourth pass.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny because I tend to write nothing but dialogue. And then I have to go back and layer in actual descriptions and emotion and things like that because I just hear the voices and I just like write down everything they say. So that's funny.
Can I ask everybody, like, how do you do your emotion? Because I was doing this today and I was just thinking about this, like, how do you add emotion into it? Like, I once took a Brenda Novak class where she told me that if you can avoid saying the word of the emotion, like saying he was happy or whatever, instead describe it, like she was staring at the mirror, whatever, like how do you do it? Like, how do you insert emotion into your?
I kind of going back a little backtrack. I really set up my characters. Like my whole story comes from them. Like I think of, like I had Sam, this horse breeding manager. Like there's only like 3 of them in the whole country. It's all men doing that job, with her character. And she has a twin sister, Dylann, whose book is the one that's coming out next month.
Yay.
And Sam's like the tomboy. Yeah, Dylann. I know I have a friend, Dylann. She's like, is she so pretty and wonderful? Yes, Dylann. But same thing, goal, motivation, conflict. And I come from the wound because I just am a big believer that we figure out our stuff with somebody else. Like relationships are all about it. So my books are very heavy on the internal conflict as well. And I try to put 2 people together who are going to be the ones that are going to bring the best and the worst out. So I kind of start with that. And then there's that great book, the kind of with the emotion stuff. What is it? Not the emotion
thesaurus.
Yeah, emotion thesaurus.
That one was and for everything, anxiety, and there's like reactions. And so I'll check that. And I write like I love writing dialogue. Like sometimes I have to go back and they're like, there's too much dialogue. Like that's great. Yeah. But I do the dialogue and then I layer in Dylann, like what you said. I might just have all the words first to get a rough pass of their conversation. And then I'll go back and add their physical movements and what's happening and stuff there. But
See, I'm glad to hear you say the emotion thesaurus because that's literally what I do. So I was like, am I the only one that does this? Because I'll be writing and I'm like, I don't want to say happy. What is she feeling? She's feeling anxious.
That's the best book ever. Or you're like, or then I find myself, I'm like, okay, her gut cannot clench again. Like,
so much happens in the gut, doesn't it?
Yeah.
75% of your immune system is located.
That's right.
Or I had something like the sweat was prickling between his shoulder blades in the second book. And my editor's like, this is a very particular reaction. So unless he has some
not condition.
That's Jake, the hot firefighter who's like Jason Momoa. Momoa.
See?
Jake, and what's his name? Joe Manganiello, kind of a hybrid. So that way you can use your imagination, what you like best of those. But yeah, and he's like a cinnamon roll. But I had to stop with the sweaty between the shoulder blades.
So going off this, like, do you have a Pinterest account where you like pin your?
I don't do it on Pinterest, but if anyone ever looked at my browser, like I'm like Charlie Hunnam, like I know they're coming for me. Like this. I end up pulling pictures down. I should do it on Pinterest, but I'm old fashioned. Like when I plot mine at the end, I have sticky notes for my act 1 and act 2, and I put the scenes in afterwards to look at it pacing wise. And I know Scrivener does that, but I've tried Scrivener like 3 or 4 times, and then I get so frustrated. I'm like, I just want my sticky note.
Really?
Pens. I know.
I love Scrivener. I do.
Me too.
Because I'm like, I don't like this scene here. Let's move it here. and then I'll just like move it and it's there. Yeah, I love it. What about you, Erica? Do you have Pinterest, or how do you insert emotion and all that?
So for me, like I said, those first few passes, I don't really care. I'll just say she smirked, she grinned. I don't really care. It's in the later, like Dylan said about layering, that I will actually get in the situation with the character and what am I actually feeling. So I'll actually stop for a minute and think, okay, this just happened to me. What am I feeling? So that's one thing that I do, is really feel the emotion of the character and then describe that feeling. And my stomach doesn't twist. I don't feel my stomach is twisting. That just doesn't happen. And so if I have my stomach twisted, I'm going to change it in that moment, and then compare something else. So how do you describe that? So you use an emotion that somebody can relate to from an experience into this moment. Does that make sense? That they can relate to that experience.
Yeah.
And the other thing I do is I build and build and build. So I know going into this scene, if I want this payoff, I'm going to have to set it up. So if I want her to be really disappointed, then I'm going to build that up to have her be like really hopeful, see a possibility, and then have it crash and die, right? So those two,
and then break her heart.
Yeah, those two things are building.
Sorry, go ahead, Claire.
I was just going to say really quick, kind of on, it's just interesting. I love hearing about how everyone, like the similarities, and I feel like we're all doing things, just calling them different or at different times. But that book by, what's her name? Is it Gwen Swain, Romancing the Beat?
Oh, Gwen Hayes, yeah.
Gwen Hayes.
Yep.
That Romancing the Beat, because I can't plot things all out too, because then I feel too constricted and it makes me feel like I'm a lawyer again, which makes me very unhappy. And so, but having a couple points of just knowing the decisions have to happen here and around this mark, I should be around here, is so helpful, that looser framework.
Yeah, I agree. I use the beat sheet, and but I put it on my Scrivener, so like I have my scenes, because I have just like a basic outline, like a format, and then I have my beats highlighted in red, so I know that when I get there, I want to have this. You want to have this, and then I even have like my love scenes in greens. I move my love scenes around, but I try to have it like at certain areas.
So you get to use all the colors. The colors sound so fun.
I do. I love the colors. That way I'm like, oh crap, I need to get, but usually it comes naturally.
That hurts my brain. What you
really
described, it causes me pain, and it makes me want to run from this room. The idea of taking the scene and doing that, being that flexible with it, like an organic whole. And so revision is painful because I have to take this away and put something else, and color coding and Scrivener and all of that. Because I feel like I do plan, I map, but I'm actually a really intuitive writer. So the plan just sort of makes me have a very strong sense of where I'm going, and then I just need to go.
Okay, so I was going to ask you this a couple minutes ago, so this is the perfect out for it. But so while you're writing, do you like evolve? Does your book evolve to a point where you're like, crap, now I got to go back to like chapter 2 and add this in or say this? Or do you just wait until the end and then go add it in?
I can't continue until I'm on the right track.
So yeah, so you stop and go back and
stop and go to the beginning and get it on the right track.
Okay. All right. What about you, Claire? You too? Yeah, I saw you shaking your head.
It depends. And I'll like put it back there, but I don't make it pretty. And, and kind of in that planning thing too, like, I don't know exactly how they're going to get to a certain spot. Like I know at this point, like I know what the black moment's going to be. And I know a couple, like they're two big main decision, dramatic things. Half the time I don't know how I'm going to get there. And that sort of comes to me as I'm writing it, which is really fun. And sometimes it doesn't come to me as I'm writing it. And that is you're like, come on, over here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting kind of technical. So just for the
Yes.
people that are listening, like Scrivener is a software that a lot of authors use that is kind of like Microsoft Word, but you can actually put things in scenes and then move them around real easily, as opposed to having to cut and paste and all that. And yeah, the beats that we're talking about are, you know, in certain most romance novels, you have certain standard beats, like, you know, they meet for the first time, and then, you know, they always tend to break up before they realize that they're supposed to be together and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think most of the people that are watching are very sophisticated readers. And so I think, like Linda just said, you know, I find in most books I've read, the hot scene occurs around or near the halfway point, you know, and that's typically, from a writing point of view, that's kind of when all is well in the world right before everything falls apart. So
noticed that comment, Linda, and I was going to say, I have a very slow burn in my books, and so the love scene does occur at 50%. So she's absolutely right. At least for my books, there's a reason for that, because I want, for me, that midpoint, the 50% is the no turning back, and so making love for me means, okay, we are in this now.
Yeah. I mean, I like to say that I write soulmates, because none of my characters have ever gotten a divorce or ever like fallen out of love with each other, in my brain anyways. So if I'm like,
they're just constant, they're just stuck there, right?
There.
They get together and they're just happy forever.
Yes, forever. So I write soulmates, and I don't think you can really be a soulmate unless you figure out that emotional and internal connection. So, and you can't really make love until you have that connection versus just having sex, you know. And so in my books, they're always making love. They're never just having sex. And I don't know if we could say sex on the show.
I think you just
did. But I did.
I think we've said a lot worse in previous episodes, so I think you're okay.
Okay.
I think it depends on the story too. Like my cinnamon roll firefighter, he was younger. She used to be his tutor in high school. This is 12 years later. So she was like, ooh, she helped me, because he had some learning issues and stuff. And now he's back. There, you know, it does end up being about the 50% point, but they're definitely a slow burn. But they make out. You know, I'm not going to tell you what base, but they make out, but they don't make love even later than that.
Yeah.
But they've been really, you know, the flirtation and the attraction keeps growing and growing. And, you know, they finally kiss and stuff, but they don't get really busy till later. So it depends on the story. And I have some that start much sooner. It depends on the characters, I think. But they all have their own love story.
I would agree with that. I think it depends on the story and the people.
I found though that for me, I had a story where they were going to hook up in Las Vegas. That was like the prologue, basically, and I really couldn't write it because it didn't feel real.
Emotional.
Like they didn't know each other, and so I just sort of bailed on that story and wrote a different one instead. I read everything. I don't have a problem with characters hooking up in the beginning or anything like that. But in terms of writing it, it didn't feel genuine, and I bailed.
Now, did you try writing it afterwards? Like as a magnet or something? Like you can be like, oh, this is the first time they met, and do it as like a freebie. Like after, because once I write it all, I know their connection, and I know that they're in love, and so like I have an easier time writing things previous after I have already made them fall in love. Does that make sense?
So it's not going to be this next one or the one after. It's going to be the third one. So I have a year before I have to figure out.
Okay. Dylann, what are you laughing at over there?
My daughter just came in. She had a question. So I'm like, I mean, they know if the door is shut, the door is shut. But
I heard you snickering. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I mean, I have some that where I'm not quite ready or in the mood to write that sexy scene. So, I mean, I've been known to write sexy, kissy, smooch, and then I go writing, and I know I have to go back to that point, you know, at the right time. So yeah, I just have to make sure to make that's edited out.
Yep.
Smoochy smoochy does not. That's not how
Same.
it works.
Is that better, Karen? Sorry. All right. So I did have, wait, what was my question? It was in my brain and now it's not. So give me a second.
It's gone.
It's gone. Oh, you may not want to answer this though.
Oh my gosh.
Have
We'd
you,
almost made it all the way through one episode without Dawn getting us in trouble. All right, what?
have you ever written a love scene based on real experiences?
No. Those are the kinds of questions that you don't
Raise
answer
your
when readers
hand.
ask you that. No.
Raise your hand.
No.
Okay, Claire.
Yeah, I'll admit it.
All right.
Have you ever made your significant other try to act out a love
Yes.
scene that you wrote and you weren't sure that it would work?
No, but I did put a bookmark in a book with a sex scene that I did write that was quite good, and I left it for him to find. And I was like, honey, read this.
Does your husband read your books?
He has read most of them. He hasn't read this last one, which is I kind of made him.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we went on a family vacation, and his uncle,
Oops.
who's a lawyer, and he's kind of an interesting guy, and he's very nice, but he's a little intense. And he had read it, and we're all out at the beach, and he's like, "So, Claire," and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I was so." I'm gonna start blushing even thinking about it. I was like, it was just so embarrassing. I was like, please don't ever read any more of my books. Like, that's fine. You can buy it and just give it away.
That's funny. You saying that reminds me of I took a class on from a historical author about clothes, like historical clothes, and she said what she does is she gets all dressed up in the historical clothes and she tells her husband to take it off of her when she's and that's how she writes it.
That's fantastic.
So she's like, I want it to be realistic, so that's how I do it. Like a corset, he's fumbling and
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I actually got in an argument with one of my very good writing friends on a Google chat yesterday about whether or not something was possible. It's like, I just want to run this by you. And she's like, nope, can't do it. That cannot be done. I'm like, I really think it can. So
someone told me they had in this other group that I'm in, they had a couple of Barbie dolls, like a Barbie and a Ken.
Yes.
And they were actually, moving them around.
I've actually thought of doing that, like having it, like acting it out, and then having it. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that Barbie lovemaking would be a lot different than human lovemaking.
She doesn't bend enough.
Well, Barbie doesn't bend. So Barbie's in trouble.
Yeah, she doesn't bend, and Ken for sure doesn't bend because he's normally like stuck like this, and so it would be awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, Dawn, nothing good happens after we go over an hour. Nothing good happens.
True story.
Sorry.
All right, we should probably end this broadcast before we get a little bit into more. I'm sorry, laughing so hard right now.
Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. That was nice.
Do either one of you have big plans for tomorrow?
It's the day after my release, and so I have to write. I do.
Oh, yeah.
But it's Valentine's Day. That's what I was getting at. Do you have big plans for Valentine's Day?
No.
Yeah, no.
I'm doing edits, and then we're ordering. There's this awesome gourmet grocery store that we love nearby, and they do things. So we're ordering dinner from there. We're gonna go pick it up. It's like 3 or 4 courses. It's super affordable, and we're gonna eat here.
Nice. What about you, Dylan?
I think we're getting heart-shaped pepperoni pizza for pizza night on Friday night because, I share my Valentine's Day with 3 children and 2 dogs and a cat.
That's nice.
So. What about you, Dawn?
Oh, my husband's deployed, so I will be getting up early to make my children waffles and giving them chocolates to eat at school. And grandma's candy. Grandma's on here, and we got the package. Grandma. and they're eating it tomorrow. They're very excited about it. But that's pretty much what we're doing. So pizza, well, no, we had pizza tonight. So they opted for salad tomorrow. My children said, since they're going to be eating candy all day, perhaps we should have salad for dinner tomorrow instead of today. So
wow.
we had
My
pizza.
kids would say, since we're eating candy, we may as well just keep it going and we'll
Have
just eat
pizza.
candy tomorrow too. But oh, funny.
All right. Well, we better end this. We're 5 minutes
Yes.
past. But
And
thank you.
giveaways are posted. The giveaway is pinned to the top of the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page, and we'll leave that open till Sunday night. If anyone would like to enter, Erika's giving away an e-copy of her latest release, and Claire, oh shoot. I just had it up and now I'm totally.
I'm giving away so much stuff this week. You think it was like Christmas week and
Yes,
stuff.
Claire has got an awesome giveaway up there as well.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Pulling
Let
up
me know
right
if you
now.
find out what it is.
There it is. No, Claire is giving away a signed copy or ebook of Nobody Else But You or The Very Thought of You, winner's choice. So, see, I knew I had it.
Yeah.
You doubt me.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you,
Yeah,
ladies.
thank
for
you
coming
very
online.
much.
Thank you.
Love being on. Thanks so much for having us.
All right,
Thanks
well,
everyone who came.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.